Drummer boy, I'm your subconscious. Drummer boy. Ooh, whoa, I'm back. Well, actually, I never left. I just went on a hiatus. You heard me? A sabbatical. Family, I'm your gracious host, Drummer Boy 1980. Hope you had a good day. If not, you know the old axiom, the adage. Ask yourself why. Because remember, happiness is an inside job. It's an internal affair. You understand? Moving right along. Some great things coming down the pipeline, all right? I'm glad that y'all rocking with me, and we gonna grow together, you heard me? The Lapeef network, those guys was taking down, but I'm glad that they got the channel back, man, because those guys put in work. Salute to JR and Ton and those guys over there at the Lapeef network. Let's jump right off into this recap right here, all right?
I've never heard a woman in her old age say, I sure am glad I chose my career over having a family and being a mother and a wife. Never heard that. I've heard women say, I regret not being a mother. Damn, I waited too late to start a family. That I do hear. Your career is a job that you are replaceable. You can't replace being a mother. We're creators. And the biggest thing on this earth is to create a whole human being, a whole spirit, a whole soul. What bigger purpose is that?
Courtney, do you think that if a woman, let's say she's not had very much luck or whatever with finding a mate, do you think that as they get, like a woman gets older, that she should be like, you know what, my purpose is to be a mother. Let me just have a child, regardless of my situation, regardless of if there's a father around, regardless of if I'm married. Do you think that women should do that, since that is the major purpose that some people have?
Absolutely not. Why already put your child at a disadvantage of not having a father? So just because you have this urgency inside of you, don't take that out on a child and putting them already at a disadvantage for being in a single parent household and not having a father, because we know how that could go. And poor child don't have a dad, like that sad. I know women that has got freezing their eggs, or actually have a friend that went to a sperm bank. That child don't have not a clue, and decided to do it with a white man, which I thought was interesting. So now she has a mixed child. Just Lord. But it's just like, okay, she decided to do this. So now the child doesn't have a dad because of your selfish reasons to just have a child. Like that's wrong on that child. And if you want a child, you can adopt a child that's already here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said about, just not having like the selfish need. But I think sometimes when we like push a narrative of a woman has no purpose unless she has a child, it might encourage some people to do certain things that aren't necessarily in the best interest of themselves or that child. So like, how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't say just to have a child.
Right, no.
Preference being a wife, and then creating a family, because that's what we're created to do. We're created to create. Our createness at its purest form is children. So if you don't have a husband, then you want a child, then there's other adopting. Who was it? Vivica A. Fox that recently just came out and said, you know what, I don't have a children. I haven't had a man that I found, to have kids with, whether that was a husband or not. She didn't see that she had somebody enough to have that. So therefore she is a mother figure to other children. And she says that's fulfilling.
Well, guys, I can't say that I disagree with Courtney. I think a woman's job, preferably what she was created for, is to create life itself. Yeah, she is a conduit. You understand? You heard me? Let me say that again. She is a conduit. She has a womb that produces life. The man plant the seed, she grow the seed, if that makes sense. You understand? Now, if a woman want to bring a child into this world without having a father, I think that is somewhat being selfish, because the child has a greater chance of actually failing in life without the father. Let me say that again. The child chances of failure is exponentially higher without the father. Now, they can make it, but the chances are, the odds are stacked against them. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So I do agree with Courtney on this. You heard me. Let's move right along.
Others out there.
Wait, hold on, JB.
You don't think we should bring shame back, Q?
Wait, hold on, JB.
In what way, JB? How should we do it? Should we hurt them in a way?
I'm patient, Clay. I'm just happy that we back up and running. They can quit.
How should we shame them, JB?
Go ahead, little bro.
Should we tell everybody if you have a baby out of wedlock, you will be punished? Tell me what does shame look like to you?
I don't think y'all really want to hear my real answers to these questions.
No, I asked you because I know you're very brutal. No,
I want to hear it.
If they're violent, please let us know.
We all want to hear it.
They're not violent.
Yeah.
I do not think. I not only do it's not just that we shouldn't uplift it. I think we should absolutely explicitly shame bad behavior. We should explicitly shame bad behavior. And so
What should that shame look like?
because this is the. Sorry, what'd you say, Kate?
What should that shame look like? In a perfect JB world, what would the shame for someone doing something that you don't like look like?
It's not about what I don't like. I mean, y'all can do whatever I don't like. It's about what's not good for the Black community, what's not good for our image.
Okay, so what should that shame look like? What should it look like?
It should look like us saying basically saying no to single mothers. Us basically making it clear that this is why a lot of times, some of us like to bring other cultures up. It's not to crap on American culture, but it's that there's a reason why in other cultures you don't see a lot of these issues en masse like we have in America, because women understand there's shame that comes with that. There's shame. So being a single mother, like in different cultures overseas, for example, like they understand if I become a single mother, right, that's my parents might disown me, my family will disown me, right? I may not have a place to stay. Like there's so much that comes with that, and there's no incentives, right? So I think part of the shame that I'm saying is even structurally, right? We should not have any incentives for people who are making poor decisions. Right, so that's actually a way of shaming them. I really think.
So you're thinking more so societal consequence.
I'm thinking both. Like, even if my own sister, right? If my own sister became a baby mama, I think she should be shamed.
Yes, absolutely right. I think there should be shame, but the shame should look something like this here: no food stamps, no housing, no child support. You and the father got to work that out together, and if y'all can't work it out, both of y'all get locked up. How about that? That's a shameful tactic. No incentives, no rebates, no returns, no none of that. Nope. If you can't afford them, you need to go to prison. Like men, go to jail. And I stand by that 100%. Huh? You heard me? Oh, he's a misogynist. Yeah, whatever. Lock him up. Throw away the key. You want equality? Here you go. And then I guarantee you, it wouldn't take nothing but a couple years. They still would be a few crazed wombats out there. But for the most part, people will stop this foolishness. But there is no deterrent. There's nothing in place to deter people from doing it. Because you know why? Because the child support system and all that, they feed off that. Because that's a bunch of confusion. Confusion is used as a weapon. Now, I can go into great details about that, but not on this particular topic here. But I am going to make some videos talking about the system and inequalities and racism, not the victim of Lapeef and JB. I got to break something down for y'all guys, but moving right along.
I think we're all confused.
All right, yes.
I'm not confused.
First of all, hold on. Okay, so let me answer. First of all,
okay, go ahead.
I missed that gap, Courtney. So I no, but okay. Here's why I asked it, right? Because even what you just said, Court, you said that committing a crime that you already know is illegal, right? Like if you already know the outcomes when you become a baby mama. Right, like people, we see the outcomes in everyday society, like all day, every day. There's tons of data that shows us what happens when you have a lot of single mothers, et cetera, right? So the point I was making with that is that part of the fact that that person who decided to break into that crib, right? Their kids are gonna suffer, right? Because they made a poor decision, right? But at the end of the day, it's not my job to care about those kids. That person should have cared about their children before they broke into that crib. So it's the same thing. Like if you're deciding to, because it's a choice, right? If I'm impregnating somebody, I made that choice. And then the same way for the woman, if she's becoming pregnant, right, and keeping that child, she's making that choice. You're making a choice to bring a child into the society without a husband, right? And that you should suffer the consequences of that. And I'm not. And again, I'm not saying
what. Disown. What should the consequence be? Disown not only the mother and the dad and the child. You think should be the consequence?
I'm saying that disowning, like the family disowning, their daughter, right, for becoming a baby mama. Yes, it may affect the child, right, but at the end of the day, that's part of that. That's the consequence, right? Understanding that
the consequence is disowning the child for the child to grow up without family.
Disowning, no. That's
to be
just
an older adult
that's
have
collateral damage. That's collateral damage.
Your logic doesn't benefit our community as
it does.
Black community.
It does because here's why. Here's why it does. Because the very fact that you find it extremist is why we should have it, right? The very fact that you find it extremist, because the thing is, if you understand this is the extremes we're gonna go to. If you become baby mama, you'll probably think twice about it before you decide to have sex without a condom. You'll probably think twice about it before you make certain poor decisions. That's why. The very fact that you think it's extremist is why we should have it.
JB, are you looking at it as more of a deterrent? Like it deters people from making the decision versus a consequence after the fact? You're saying that, I'm asking you, are you saying that this thing that you're talking about should be the case so that people might be like, you know what, I'm not even going to get in that situation versus it being the consequence after the fact?
I think it's both.
Which one do you think is more effective?
No, I have the question.
It's both. Like again, it's
Me
both.
too. I got a question too.
Listen, Kay. Here's the thing, right? There's a reason why I may have grown up in the hood, but I'm not doing all the things that the guys I grew up with are doing because I understood there are consequences that come with that, and I did not want those consequences. Right? For them, they evaluated and they said, you know what? If I get to spend 10 years of my life locked up for this, I'm willing to do that. That's fine. That's the decision. But when you get those 10 years, I don't want to hear you crying. I don't want to hear free so-and-so, free Junebug. I don't want to hear it because you made that choice, right? We all had the choice to make. That's my point, is that when you have those consequences, the thing is, there's no standards. We live in a world now with no standards whatsoever. You get to do whatever the hell you want. I mean, even what you just said, like when the person's locked up, even the example I took, you're like, yeah, they still gonna go check on them. We should have consequences. We should have standards where you make some poor decisions. I'm not going to visit you. Especially if I told you.
JB, wait. Hold on, y'all gotta get to Kayla. Real quick. Because Kayla just said something poignant. You're right, Kayla. They're in jail.
Yeah.
What's the consequence of being a single mother?
Those are some harsh consequences. But sometimes things have to be to level 10. You understand? Sometimes if you in a dire situation, it requires a cold solution, you know? Because it is a choice now, just to be honest. It's not my responsibility to take care of my cousin kids because he made a stupid decision. Now, Dr. John Henry Clark said it best. Black people have a beautiful humanity about them. That's why they in the predicament that they're in now, that they're currently in, to the bottom. If you can't read between the lines, I'm going to explain it to you one day. He said if black people wasn't like they were, everything would be a knockout, drag-out war. That's why these women will look at the situation what Jonathan talking about and say, well, how about the kids? See, everybody else don't care. They'll just call it collateral damage. If you understand that. That's why other communities thrive, because they got consequences set in place. You understand that? But Dr. John Henry Clark said it best. Black people have this beautiful humanity about themselves. Moving right along. Chicago really just asked a pertinent question. He just asked, what is the consequences of being a single mother? Let me let him finish. Let him tell it first. You heard me. Watch this, guys.
They're in jail.
Yeah.
What's the consequence of being a single mother?
Raising your child.
I mean,
that's called
you have to raise a child by
responsibility.
yourself. That's
Hold on. Let me answer Kay. That's called responsibility. You created that child.
It takes two
You
people.
chose. Wait, listen. Hold on, Kayla. I know you want to go. I've been quiet. I'll let y'all cook.
Chicago's been trying for several minutes.
I've been pulling the case. I've been pulling the K all night. Right?
No, all night we
You
just
chose. Listen.
No, this all
Listen.
night.
what Jonathan is saying makes, I say bring shaming back. And I'm gonna tell you why. Bring it back. And if it got to the point where people knew they were gonna be disowned by the family, you stop bringing shame to your family name. We start putting respect on people's names and legacies for once. We bring it back to where we're supposed to have it to be in the beginning. Like, what we doing? What we talking about, fam? Like, for real, for real. What we talking about?
Talking about.
So,
Can I add to that?
Can I ask? Oh.
Humble dad. Let me get one or two more licks in. Pause.
I don't like it.
I got something stupid.
What are you doing? I don't like it.
Listen, this one I'm talking about licks like
sound.
punches, Kay. I'm talking like, anyway.
Domestic discipline. He's doing domestic discipline.
Listen, what Jonathan is saying is spot on. And Jonathan, you ain't even have to take it to the felonies and the criminals. You could have kept it right there, fam. Because let's keep it a beam. My kids are my responsibility. They not my grandma, they not my uncles, they not my mamas, they not my auntie responsibility. So if I go out here and do something dumb and I'm out here dirty Dick Rodney and I'm creating all these situations, I can't come back to the family and act like the family's supposed to carry that weight for me. That's for me. Now, let's continue. There's so
I have
many.
a question. Oh,
I know you do. There's so many. I mean, I'm not saying that to be funny, Q. I know you do, but I'm saying there's so many safety nets in this society, and I'm not saying this to be disingenuous or disrespectful or anything, but let's keep it a stat since we bike. There's so many safety nets for women, right? So a woman says, "Hey, I made a mistake. I slept with Future. My bad." Society say, "Well, we got welfare." We got EBT cards. We got child support. We got this, that, now, wait. For me, if my woman, if the mother of my children, right, she go out, do something stupid, I love when y'all say, well, put her on child support. Okay, cool, good. Where's my EBT card? Where's my safety net? Right, let's keep it a beam. But if people knew the real consequences of their actions, we wouldn't move so foolishly. We wouldn't listen to men. Like when we I keep it a stack with the brothers too. When we talk dick discipline, most brothers talk about getting calm. I'm saying keep your dick to yourself, fam. Because if we knew the consequences of how we acting in these streets, and we talking about getting to real solutions, if we knew the consequence and there was real consequence, if I go out in society and I'm shamed on my block for being dirty Dick Rodney, I might think twice about being a dirty Dick Rodney. But if I'm out here and for being dirty Dick Rodney, I'm gonna swing it 7 ways to Sunday.
Ooh, Chicago Rilla pulling up from the logo. He pulling up from the logo. He gliding from the free throw line, guy. Good grief, he on fire. You heard? Now you notice something. Pay attention. Go back and watch this segment over. Look at the lady's face. The first thing Kayla said was what? Well, it take two. We ain't talking about the men right now. And besides, sis, the men are held accountable. Second order of business. The women are held accountable. They are incentivized. That's the difference. Everybody keep interrupting. Q want to say something. K want to say something. No, let him cook. He's in the kitchen. He putting the seasoning salt in it. You heard? Everything he say, I second that. Everything. You should bring Shane back. You need to cut all these safety nets, all these goodies, all these incentives. Cut it out. If you make a baby, hear me, you might as well go ahead and subscribe, family. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. You heard? If you go out there and lay down, your choice. You got over 30 forms of contraceptives to not get pregnant. If you get pregnant, if you can't afford it, put you in prison like the men. I stand by that. If you want to unsubscribe. I'll be okay because I had money before you two. Oh, you heard me. If you want to unsubscribe, do so now. And I stand by that. I stand by it. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I don't mince words. I don't make no bones about it. You heard? This drummer boy.
But I have a question, Courtney, because you just said you're a single mother, right? Did that bring shame onto you?
She just said.
I just said my mother was, me and my family was just very disappointed in me, and I was scared to tell them. So yeah.
Okay. So did you know that would have brought shame to your family before having a child?
Yes, I did. That's why I was scared to tell them.
Okay, so my point is that even if we say we're going to shame people, clearly it's still going to happen, right?
Well, I was asleep.
It might not happen.
I don't. Conception.
No, I'm not talking to you.
I was like, that's a whole nother story. But mind you,
what?
I was 32.
Talking about the point. You're talking about like we want to put shame on people. Shoot, people know if they kill somebody, they're gonna go to jail. But some people do kill people.
That's
I mean, it might not be the same, Rilla.
That's not shame. People are not
jail
shamed
for murder.
They're not shamed.
Look, are you serious?
In fact, no, it's actually not.
It's
In
different
fact,
from a consequence. Like,
They're not shamed for murder.
it's not necessarily.
They should be. They should be. What y'all mean? Y'all talking about people should be
Hold up.
for being murdered.
One person. Yeah. One person, y'all. They can't hear.
Right.
Hold up. Even on the
murder, he will be looked down on.
No.
Even on
Hey, y'all. Hey, they cannot hear us if we all talking.
We back.
I'm gonna take an example for you right now. K Flock, out of New York, right? You looking at that brother? He just caught a murder charge, right? And you seen how many people are actually glorifying this dude and talking about free K Flock, and it's different. Like this, it's not shit. You actually get points for that, and that's what I'm saying. We live in an upside down world. We live in an upside down world in America.
Is he from the hood? Is he from the hood?
JB,
yes.
Wait a minute. Dude got more coverage and more publicity for a murder charge than he did for his music.
Exactly.
There's no shame in
he's
that.
from the hood. What if it was
about people in the streets?
That's beside the point. The point is that this is not shame. Like what you're saying is, even what you're saying, like it won't matter. We have examples of this working. You do not see this problem in the Middle East. You cannot see you're not gonna find a single motherhood problem in Saudi Arabia. I guarantee you're not gonna find it, right? And there's a reason for it. There's a reason for that, right? They may call the Saudis, they may call them extremists, they may call them whatever, but guess what? They don't have these problems. They don't have them. And it's because they have
They got a lot of other problems.
They have a lot of other problems.
A lot of other problems.
Sure, but let's stick to this point right here. They don't have these problems, and it's because they have structure, and that structure is enforced by a patriarchy. That's it. That's you
rather have the problems they have than the problem we have.
Don't you start, Courtney.
Wait, what's the problem they have? What's the problem?
Yes, these guys are absolutely right about murder being glorified. It's like a badge of honor. Now, what Q said was correct as well. We have a tendency to look at the bottom 20% of black people and concentrate on that all the time. Focus on that. That's what I noticed. And that's what the dominant society does as well. They put the camera to the hood and try to make a blanket statement about all black people. See, instead of focusing on middle class and up, because they're going to always be poor people amongst you. And that does not mean leave them behind. That does not mean that. People that want to change will come and seek out instructions. But for people that just want to boil and stew in it, leave them right where they at. Because you can't save everybody. I don't concentrate on the bottom of nothing. If people want to change, people will seek help, will reach out for help. And people actually will humble themselves. I'm not wasting my time. You heard me? Now, as far as the Middle East not having this problem, he's correct. Because they are hardcore over there. See, but you see how the ladies try to move the goalposts? Well, they got other problems. He ain't talking about that. Compare apples to apples now. Plums to plums. Don't be trying to compare an avocado to a tangerine. My God.
Don't you start, Courtney.
Wait, what's the problem they have? What's the problem? What's the problems they have so I can pick?
All right. Humble Dad got a question. Humble Dad got a question.
I made that mistake.
Humble Dad got a question, y'all. Go ahead, Humble Dad.
So just real quick, is there a difference between shame and accountability? Or is that what we're arguing? Is there a difference?
I think the difference is between shame, like you feel ashamed, versus like a social consequence. Like I think that there's a lot of like miscommunication, like maybe misunderstanding going on here, because like JB just said, and like I was kind of alluding to earlier, There are plenty of people who have committed all types of crimes and they're being uplifted. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is whatever. Whereas there are people who do certain things and they have a social consequence where this is not being uplifted. Those are not necessarily the same thing.
Okay. Well, I'll take it back to like in school. Like in schools right now, there is no accountability, right? So they pass students on even if they failed a particular class, right? You're familiar with this. And so as a result, a student that comes into my classroom who has now have to have structure and accountability in my classroom, she seems to think that I'm the problem, as well as parents think that I'm the problem, because now that they have to turn in homework or they have missing assignments and that they're actually going to fail my class, now they say, my last teacher didn't do that. I'm not having issues in math or whatever. But if the students that are held accountable, they succeed the most, or even in their household. So I don't understand why. That's why I was asking, is accountability and shame different? Because if a student knows that they're going to fail because they're not doing their work, then their behavior changes. And as a result of their behavior changes, their rewards and consequences change. So it is important for individuals to know the consequences as well as respond accordingly. So if you are a single parent, I mean, out of the guise of your own, at your own discretion, then of course you should be shamed. I mean, that's how it was before. And it was working before as it related to individuals thinking about before they get into the bed with somebody, what was going to be the consequences. And so that's where we are now in society, is that we are not aware or not concerned, or there are no consequences. And as a result, we're doing whatever. And this is why we're having these dialogues now.
Humble Dad coming through swinging the axe. He coming through. He shooting from the logo. These guys on fire about this topic here tonight, guys. Give them credit. You might have to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. What's wrong with you? This drummer boy now. Go ahead and click that button. You heard me? Humble Dad coming through swinging. Huh? I second everything that he just said. Ain't nothing that he said that I got one iota of a problem with. You heard me? Where there is no consequence, there is no deterrent, guys. So if I'm driving my car and I know the speed limit 55, but I'm going 80 and the cop don't pull me over, what is the punishment for me driving 80? There is none. So I'm gonna continue to drive 80. Cause 55, it's just a sign. If you understand that analogy, there is no deterrent. And women know that they got safety nets, but that need to be removed. Please remove it. We need to remove this. Everybody's held accountable. If you don't want to be held accountable, get off your back, quit bending over, quit riding people then, if you understand that.
I'm glad you did.
There are,
you lying.
All right, y'all. We're gonna move on to our next topic. Hey, family.
I'm not lying.
Man, it's like Thanksgiving or Christmas. Yeah.
I'm not lying. I think that there are plenty of people.
If a woman doesn't get married,
different lives, and they're all fine.
Hey, can I please get to the?
You know what? I was just
okay, but you just gotta be quiet. You said to keep talking.
Sorry, JR. Go ahead.
If a woman doesn't get married and have children in her lifetime, is she?
Do anybody see this? You see the man talking, the host of the show now, and she gonna talk through him. Now, Anton said one time, and I vividly remember, he said, Kay don't act like this when she's not on the show. So in other words, what I gather from that is this is an act then, right? So this is an act. I call it disrespect. He the host. When he talk, everybody need to pipe down. Or either ask the man, can I finish my thought? You see how that work? It's simple. Simplicity. Kiss, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Moving right along. God, ridiculous.
Hey, you don't believe in hierarchies? You don't believe hierarchies exist?
What would you determine as a woman? What is it? Yeah. How would you describe a woman?
Identifies as a woman.
Anybody that identifies as a woman.
That's the criteria. So if that's the criteria, then no one can be less of a woman.
Hold on. Me with my beard and everything.
The thing is,
if I wait. If I woke up tomorrow with my beard and everything, and I said, "Yo, you know what? I feel like throwing my hand like this now, and I identify as a woman. Do you believe that me and you should go into the same bathroom together?
Hold on. Ooh, this took a
I'm
turn.
just asking. She said anybody that identifies as a woman.
Do you
The other
identify as a
channel
woman?
ain't even back up yet, Anton.
It's a hypothetical situation.
Anton, you identify as a woman.
For the sake of this conversation, yes.
Wow. Guys, you see why you can't have the women in control? Do you see this logic? Do anybody see this? Do I need to say it? I might as well go ahead and say it. Guys, the question was asked, what is a woman? The AK show. She says, anybody that identify as a woman. And you see why the community is so jacked up and to the bottom? Because of stuff like this. Anybody that identify as a woman. She knows she put her foot in her mouth. But a lot of people believe this because they up on this liberal, the free for all. Okay, you see guys, confusion is a weapon. These people don't know whether they're a man or woman. Understand something, guys. We talking about whether a person is a man or a woman. Just think about that for just a moment. Whether they're a male or female. This is literally the discussions that we having. It sounds like we in Bizarro land or something. Some type of Hunger Games. Ridiculous.
Why shouldn't I be respected?
Anton, you don't live your life as a woman. You are just.
I don't want to get. We are not.
What is living your life as a woman? What does that mean?
You don't identify as a
I just said I identify as a woman.
He just told you he doesn't.
You just
Can I ask a question?
Come on, let's not do this.
Hold on, y'all. We gotta do one at a time, y'all.
Hold on, wait.
Anton said for the sake of this conversation, like
All
how
I know.
disrespectful. Are you
That's
seriously?
not disrespectful to look at things from a
I
hypothetical.
do think
Why
that.
Wait. I never
Hold on. Hey, y'all. Hey, they cannot hear us and we all talking.
I never said anybody was less of a person. I never said any of that. It's not disrespectful to look at things from a hypothetical situation in order to come to a conclusion. We just having a conversation. Nobody is disrespecting anybody.
Well, when you're saying for the sake of this conversation, like, come on.
How is that disrespectful?
I do think that they would find it disrespectful, and if
How? Tell me how.
A lot of my closest circle and family members are in the LGBTQ community. So what I'm telling you is that I think that they would think it's offensive that you are making light of people who identify.
I'm not making light of anything. I'm trying to.
Anton, I understand how you feel, but I'm telling you how they feel, and
But
you can't invalidate their feelings.
We can't say how they would feel.
I am not making light of anything. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking.
I'm telling you that they would be offended.
I have gay friends.
One at a time, y'all. One at a time. Go ahead, Q. Hold on. Go ahead,
I
Q.
have gay friends, and I don't think that would be offensive because he's not trying to look down on them in no way. I have gay friends too. You do. I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, the whole community will be offensive."
I got gay friends. I coach gay people.
If I would have done the same,
we're not talking about sexual. We're talking about orientation. See, y'all.
Okay,
we're talking about trans.
Kayla.
I mean, I have gay friends. I have a
trans.
I
have gay friends. When we're
Hold on. It got to be one at a time, y'all. They can't hear.
I asked a simple question that has not been answered.
I'm muting people.
I asked a simple question that has not been answered. What makes a woman?
That's a really good question.
That was my
Living
question.
your life as a woman, what does that mean?
That was my
It's
question.
a simple question. It's not disrespectful.
It's a really good question.
Well, the dictionary says adult female human being.
Kayla, I take
adult female human being.
Hey Kayla,
Yes.
I take offense to you guys misgendering Antoinette, okay? Because if Antoinette told you, I really take offense to that because Antoinette told you that she identifies as female. Right?
Stop.
So who are you? No, real talk. Because what you're saying cannot happen is exactly what gender fluidity is. Right? You cannot hold up. You cannot gender fluidity.
For a hypothetical reason.
Hold up. Gender fluidity is your ability, right, to be on the spectrum of genders at any point in time. That's literally what it is, right? So you cannot. Who are you to decide that Antoinette cannot identify as a woman.
You just disrespect his woman.
I know, and it was my bad.
I think
notice something, guys. Kay is quiet because she know she wrong, but she tried to be all inclusive whenever it comes to things of this nature. She don't really want to talk about women, and she don't want to talk about the LGBT. Those are the two things that she try to circumvent most of the time. You heard me? Nah, what JB said was correct. It's called gender fluidity, gender fluid. At any time, you can switch either or, according to what they say. I'm just going by what they say. I don't make the rules, I just play them. Nah, from my perspective, my point of view, from my vantage point, guys, you might as well go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. If you haven't hit it already, I done told you about 2 or 3 times already. I'm gonna tell you another time too. But let me jump right on this thing. From my vantage point, a person can identify whatever he or she wants, right? Psychologically, you heard me. But biologically, you are either male or female. You either have ovaries or you have testicles. You either have a scrotum or you have a clitoris. Either have lips or you have a phallus. You heard. There's only 2 categories. Now, a person can identify as whatever they choose. They can identify as a pencil. All right, that's psychologically. But biologically, you are a male or female. You heard me.
And it's not if I respect myself.
No, hold on, JB. Now, cool. I can rock with that, right? I can accept that. But Kay said it's if you identify as a woman. And so now that's where I was looking for clarification.
Is that okay?
That's where I started looking for clarification, because you're saying is based off of your ability to have a child. And now I'm trying to understand how it is that we identify, or whether or not we can even identify certain people or align them in this conversation based off of their identification or their ability to be able to have a child.
So, Ton Dog, real quick, right? Real quick. I think that there's an issue here, though, right? Because, Court, you mentioned, for example, fertility issues and cancer, whatnot. Those are not choices, right? If you're a sex worker, that's a choice. You're making a choice to sell your coochie, right? No one's forcing you to do it.
What?
Right?
But that has nothing to do with being less than a woman.
Yes, but that's the point. The thing is, I'm going to say, a woman who has breast cancer, a woman who has breast cancer, I don't think anybody who's sane would tell a woman who has breast cancer or who just has fertility issues, you're less of a woman. It's not her fault, right? But if you're making the choice, right, to sell your private parts, yes, you are less of a woman, because you're less of any woman that I would take seriously, that most men would take seriously. That society.
Hold on. Let him finish.
Not just men, but society overall. We can't just act like, we live in a vacuum, right? Society overall looks down on you for a reason, and that reason is valid, right? Again, we're going back to this PC stuff. That reason is valid. You deserve to be looked down upon because you're selling your coochie.
JB, do you watch?
I want to go to Courtney. Let's go to Courtney and then Kayla.
Let me respond to that. So when we talk about what is a woman, it's not her occupation.
Nope.
It's not her giving herself to one man or 1,000. It's disrespectful. It's disgusting. But that doesn't make her a woman. I am biologically a woman because of my chromosomes, because of my abilities to do things that a man cannot do, which means push out a 6.3 ounce baby out of my vagina. It's my breasts that get engorged when I have my period. These are things that make me a woman that you can't do. You could be a sex worker as well. But here's the thing. JB, you could be a sex worker as well. It's your occupation, but you're still a man.
No,
you're just a disgusting man.
You'd be less than a man.
So
I'd absolutely be a lesbian man.
Y'all wouldn't put shame to a man that has that type of career, Courtney? And
yes,
absolutely. They deserve to be shamed.
Absolutely. What does this have to do?
Listen,
that makes or not.
Because listen, y'all. Listen, y'all.
One at a time.
Hold on, y'all. The context is we.
This is miscommunication or something. Because Jonathan is clearly, and it's transparent to me. I don't know about y'all guys' family, but what he's talking about is society, hierarchy, and all of that. Courtney is talking about a person's essence, their being. It's called ontology. He's not talking about a person that's less than from their being. He's not talking about that. Yes, we was all created equal. If you want to go biblical, we was all created equal, right? But society doesn't view a custodian, a janitor, in the same light as a doctor. Those two different hierarchies in society. And that's what Jonathan is talking about. I can't do certain things that a congressman can do. They are afforded different treatment. I can't do what the president do. The president can come down my street right now. Everything go shut down around him 4 or 5 miles radius. Everything shut down. Because society, he is higher. That's what Jonathan is talking about. Courtney is simply talking about a person's essence, their being. He's not talking about that. So I don't know whether she being willfully ignorant or what, or is she being disingenuous. But guys, this is the part 1. I got to go. All right? Hit that like button, family. Subscribe. Hit that share button. Hit the cash app. And like I always tell you, thank you for stopping by and come back, because there's more. Because in 2022, we gonna do some greater things. You heard me? Because the latter should be greater than the beginning. You heard me? Peace.